was like, I really don't. It'd be really cool, but I've got 100 Vortec Guard painted, and I don't want to paint 100 more.
You'd only need like 220s or something like that would be my guess.
You only need like 260s, or and if the list is 90, and that's what it takes to win, then that's what you got to bring. I can't do it anymore, man.
What happened to the mega battle and a year of like painting 20,000 undead or whatever?
I'm done. I'm done.
Oh man,
I finished. Where's my opponent?
Working on Slaves to Darkness, from what I hear, as well. So
it's not the terms. It's not what we agreed to.
Oh man! So of course, good morning, everybody. I am the magical Mr. Mephisto. You are watching Cubic Shenanigans with Stormcaller Dan.
I'm here with my friend Mephisto.
Yeah, that's what it was. Ouch! Ow! Cut me real deep. You used to be a teacher there.
Play word games. I mean, come on, we can go there. Cool. It's cool.
So I'm Mephisto. I'm joined by my two favorite podcast hosts from Cubic Shenanigans, Dan and Brendan. Y'all know them. Let's go because we got the heart out with Brendan. As I was saying,
you guys can keep going after me, but that's I'm out at 11. I got to teach someone how to play Warhammer. So
there you go. So I mean, they came out the gate swinging today. Brendan, was it everything you dreamed it could be? I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up these plastic Blood Knight sculpts.
I mean, we know that there's more, which is the really killer part on this.
Right.
Starting from like the low level working up, right? You get skeleton warriors who look like the ones from Curse City, so fine, whatever.
Right.
You have new zombies, which I like because they're not the ones with the graves stabbed through their back and over and not making too much sense. So I'm jazzed about these. You get the new Fellbats, which are kind of in line with the new Smashbat guy that we saw in Curse City.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
We had the two Vampire Lords that we had seen previews of, one from Potato Cam and then one in model review. But then
finally,
two things, right? One, the Battle Tome cover is Waller. Is
absolutely
so good.
Oh, it is.
And then Plastic Blood Knights, which have been it's been the same kit since before I started playing. Years ago, right?
Right.
Oh my goodness.
The old Fellbats had to be 20 years old. I mean, they had to be.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. Brendan, how I feel about this book. This is like a dream come true. How long have I been wanting Vampers? For so long. And
we have talked about a number of Legion of Bloodless off air many times to try and figure out a way to make it work.
Well,
this is just unbelievable. And those Blood Knights, I cannot wait to put metallics on them. Just, God. Make them different, every unit a different color, blue, green, red, everything. Because I got a whole stack of Army Painter metallics. I'm just like, man, I'm going to get on them.
Well, I mean, like the Fellbats, like it was getting to the point where like Fellbats, Bat Swarms, I think we even had they were getting to the point where they're so outdated. I'm like, just like you're either gonna have to cull them or update them. Like, and I was getting to the point where I didn't care. And that was a bad sign because my first army was undead / and then transitioned to vampire counts, and so I was just like, oh no. And these Fellbats make me a believer again. I'm sorry I doubted you, adorable little bat friends. I'm so sorry.
And I mean, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with Bat Swarms. I'm assuming they're going to have them. But that would be so cool.
So the vampire sort of, I think on the a vampire lord on the cover of the Soulblight Gravelords battle tome is like the hair one, right? That one has the bats. Like, I'm wondering if they're going to do different bloodlines and that they're going to actually, like, augment and play with the different, like, sort of vermin. Because it's very traditional vampire folklore that they have power over, like, canines, rodents, and, you know, bats and even, like, insect plagues and stuff. So, like, going back to some of that, like, canonical, like, classic Euro vampire, like, high gothic lore is, like, I see it in the models, and like I'm like, oh, put it in the rules too. Like if you've got that bloodline, go ahead.
Well, to your point, that vampire lord we just saw with the rats, everywhere.
Yeah,
and that's perfect to what you were just talking about. And direwolves. I mean, we didn't really see those, but I would love to see what they're going to do with that. There was one standing next to that vampire on the cover, and you're right, that would be so cool. Rats and wolves and bats. Oh,
yeah.
So it's just like you're on freaking drugs, man. You're just seeing all this crap out there that's not real yet, but it's like you want it all. Whatever it is, you just want to keep looking at it.
Yeah, like in the basement with the black lights on and all, like listening to Captain Beyond and staring at all the freaking cool posters, like all the metal albums and stuff. Yes. I don't know if everyone caught this. I was watching Halo, just kind of chatting with his audience before, and he was really particular with zooming in on this vampire lord sort of riding in the background we see. Like, this is a zombie dragon, right? Or a dragon of sorts, right? Like,
certainly what it looks like.
To reappropriate his own meme, does this mean a new dragon sculpt is on the way? Like,
maybe. Probably not.
Oh, give it to me. Shoot it into my veins. I only own 4 vampire lords on zombie dragons. I could stand to have 2 more. Is all I'm saying.
It would be interesting to see that kit transition because the Flesh Eater Courts range also relies on the current kit. Right. So would you leave the existing zombie dragon kit out there as some sort of variance for the Flesh Eater Courts? And also you can bring it back into Gravelords, or is this gonna be double the fun for 2 army books?
Well, oh man, one of the early rumors, and I don't see any representation on this cover that the rumor that we're getting like old Strigoi back as like Flesh Eater Courts are getting rolled back into Soulblight Gravelords as a bloodline. I don't see any evidence that that's happening as of right now. I think we're getting sort of like, yes, classic, vampire counts / the update to LON that we all wanted when that book came out even. Like the 4 of us who read that book and were like, this book has a lot of dead weight. I wish they'd update it. And like, message thrown out into the ether, message received, boom, Gravelords, let's go.
Well, and I'm going to disagree a little bit with Brendan in terms of a new sculpt, because I only think that everything we saw today was new. And I think that they're going to throw in, my prediction is they're going to throw in all the way with new sculpts, all the way across the line. We've seen all new vampire lords. We saw the all new warband, with vampires. I think everything is going to be new. Not that I'd mind,
right?
a vampire lord and a zombie dragon that was new, but I just think everything across the battle tome is going to be something we haven't seen before, which is great. Right. It's exciting stuff.
Right. Oh, I mean, for the vampire, specifically the zombie dragon thing, and just kind of addressing chat and y'all simultaneously, it can go further, is like the only thing I'm thinking, because like it's that zombie dragon as it stands, very spindly, kind of onto a base unto itself, and I think about the time it was made, it was probably like just peak sculpting at the time, but like our technology has advanced. We have these dioramas. We
have the technology.
Yeah, like we have these dioramas now where the stuff, it's kind of like sprawled out and very sort of, regal in a sense, and like, very static looking. I'm like, I want this thing in motion. I want this thing looming. One of the first things that stood out to me when I saw Potato Cam pick Vampire Lord was, look at how she's like leaning forward on her base a little bit. Like she's got this little bit of a tilt to her, how it's like unnatural. Give me some of that. Like I want this stuff to haunt me, like long after, like I want this more overly. I want it to haunt my opponents after they're done playing and just be like, it's so awesome.
Yeah, so cool.
The zombie dragon has eyes, says Kicker. It drank the Pepsi milk, is what it did.
Can never forget that. Good.
That rumor was Tom Smoke. Keep the current ZD kit. The new one is a bigger zombie dragon. Like, it's just like the regular zombie kit is like one type of dragon, and then there's like a blood dragon, and it's like a bigger zombie dragon or something. It's a distinct thing.
Yeah, you toss it on the dinner plate base, and you call it a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Going to be all new match. Yeah, I mean, so they are. It does look now we're getting them matched with the Curse City stuff. Like that Curse City is going to look completely at home with this stuff. So like, is my boy the Gravekeeper gonna buff some Deathwalkers, some zombies?
Probably, yeah.
Like it already talks about he summons more because we got a little bit of a rules tease. I don't know if that was a leak. Someone just shared it with me in Messenger, and I'm like, zombies are back on the menu, boys.
That's great.
So, sorry, I'm going to talk a little bit longer about Undead. So, new zombie skeletons. I think these are skeletal warriors. Just finally updated. They're not just like naked skeletons with like tablecloths. Right. So, really pumped about that because I consider myself a bit of a connoisseur of skeletons.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to say there's nothing special to them, but it's hand weapon shield skeletons or spear and shield skeletons. They've got some armor plate. They finally have some motion to them.
Right.
Am I going to look to replace all the ones I have? No.
Thousands.
I'm looking at like my 100, my original 100 Skella boys, right?
That's in the ballpark of the number, right? They look like they'll feel right at home. I've seen that the Cursed City size comparison is that they're a bit taller.
Good.
Than the regular ones.
Good.
So that'll be interesting. You'll get some interest in like height diversity in the unit that you won't have to create with your basing.
Right.
So that'll be cool. That'll be good to have.
If you're a death homer, like I think all three of us essentially are at this chat. I know you, Dan, Night Hunt and stuff like that. If you're a death homer, you get like to have like a snapshot. That thing that I really think is awesome about like death, when you have like an army, what I think it should look like in Fluff and Flavor, where they actually have a range of armor and like ethnicity, like ethnic markers on like their like their garb and stuff like that. Like they just have this range of aesthetics. You get that. Like it's not just naked skeletons now. You're gonna like grab a fistful of your like first resin skeletons, and you're gonna grab a fistful of like your sort of mid-range like plastics, and you're gonna grab a fistful of these from your Cursed City box, and you're gonna have some conversions in there and the Shadespire stuff, and you're gonna have this like Neapolitan shambling undead force. It's gonna be so cool. Sorry.
I really love the fact that they have armor now, because I'm just thinking of the fact that you can actually paint rusty armor on these guys.
Yeah.
You could never do that on skeletons before, and I just picturing that is just really cool. Or again, you could paint them to match your Blood Knights. They have the same color armor. Just there's so many options now in terms of just hobby and painting with them that you didn't have with just plain skeletons.
Right.
And that's exciting to me. Looking at them, so
you get the hand paint potential too. Like you can actually like now I've got some surface area on this thing to hand paint a little like iconography on like a pauldron or the breastplate that's been busted open. I love this one with the spear. I think this is my favorite in the range. He's got this just do not know who you're fucking with look, and little like almost a Celtic sort of knot on the shield. So good. Oh, I'm in love.
Cool.
Getting real nods to almost like Cossacks and stuff like that, which harkens to that Cursed City, some of that vibe. So I'm really loving these. This is awesome. Yeah. When people like skeletons can't look cool, I'm like, first off, shut your mouth. They've always looked cool.
Show them what's up.
Yeah. And a little bit more talk about the zombies here. So we've got a range here. A good, like the first thing that stood out when they had that wide shot after, like when they were talking about it on the Warcom thing, was like, look at the variance of zombies. It's not the one sort of monopose, the lean, like, oh man. So this is cool. It seems the the gravestone like might be like they're spacing it out, which is what I wanted to see. So I'm happy now. And these are far less cartoony now, and they look more gruesome. So
it looks like a Blood Bowl zombie team there, Brendan.
Yeah, kinda.
Because of the diversity you're talking about.
Yeah, and mixing them in with the ones that you're gonna get in Cursed City, like I don't hate the Cursed City ones as much, like because zombies you run in units of, at least currently, like units of 60, and if you've got 10 of them with gravestones on the back of them in that brick of 60, cool, fine, whatever. If it was all of them, I'll just bust out my old ones. Like, we're good. Don't worry about it. But back to Meph's point, mixing the Cursed City ones in, these ones that we saw previewed today, and some old ones. I know they're not great models, but who's to say that like you can't still incorporate those things as the ones that are coming out of the earth, at the same time of the rest of the unit. I mean, zombies used to be the quintessential unit filler in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, but it's really cool. It's really cool to see that these kits that are so long overdue for some love and attention are getting like genuine AOS reimaginification, and they've chosen to do not the super Vince make it weird mode, but they've chose to pay homage to the universe in which these models came, which those are the two spectrums, and I really love both of them.
Right.
When they don't go in either direction, I think is when we kind of have okay, whatever. Like,
you either got to do the Chaos Knight thing, where like the Chaos Knight is so iconographic, like it's so iconic. I just kind of want it updated and to live in this world, right? Is what I wanted from the like. You don't need to change that Chaos Knight. That the Chaos Knight is more iconic than the Space Marine or the Stormcast Eternal for me, because that was the first sculpt I saw, and I'm like, that's what Citadel Minis or that's what Games Workshop stuff
really
looks
cool.
like, right? Like for like death heads for fans of death, there's always that part of you that just wants Army of Darkness, but like made cool instead of like hokey, like
right.
the part of you that's always just gonna want Castlevania. But I want Castlevania to teleport into the mortal realms and like take on some of the vibes of the mortal realms. I think that's what this is doing. Go ahead, Dan.
One of the things I thought about the Fellbats when I saw them is, the old ones, I like the models and stuff, but honestly, they were like something you would get out of a Cracker Jack box. That's just the way they looked.
Yeah.
They're so dated, oh, look, I opened the box, I got a cool thing. It was like that, and now they're just so alive, and undead that are alive. That's kind of counterintuitive, but
no.
Just the poses and the way they just look so dynamic and so much a part of what you expect this army is going to be. And it just was so pleased to see that next gen just move so far from what they were before.
Yeah,
because there's just no comparison to what they were when we first saw them. So
I mean, it's such a like that's a perfect statement. Like how far they've moved the needle on these. I cranked the guest levels. You should be able to hear them better now. I was actually getting blasted out, so I'm sorry. Sorry if y'all think they're quiet.
One of the other things I want to talk about, Brendan, for those guys with the things on their backs, the zombies with the gravestones and stuff, I thought of a really cool conversion would be to cut them off like at the waist and make it look like they're coming out of the ground. I thought that would be a really cool thing. I don't know how you would do it with dirt and stuff, but that would look very cool. So
get some like hard sheets of plastic, make cylinders around your bases, and then get some like something texture that looks like mud and stuff, and then actually put the model in it with like it coming out, and so when you deploy it on the table, you just have this like soda can with a zombie coming, like a soda can of dirt with a zombie coming out of it.
That's cool.
The lore I heard nodded to is it's actually like the trees are so defiled in the area in Shyish that they've actually like plucked and exhumed the corpses, and they're like animating them like puppets, which is why we see a lot of these like tendrils of wood through all of them, almost like the sort of Shyishian forests are what animate the zombies, which is a cool different take on the billions of zombie lores we have, from stardust from meteors to viral plagues to end of the world apocalyptic zombies of metal. Like, we have all the different flavors of zombies, and to see like Games Workshop being like, let's do a little bit different with like the trees puppeteering them. I think that's pretty cool too. So cool on that. Fellbats we already kind of touched on, which gives us Curse City had little like bat swarms, little three bats per. So I think we're getting bat swarms and dire bats.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Full line revival.
Right.
Yeah.
And real quick, back up to the Blood Knights. Blood Knights, I remember getting into Age of Sigmar. You know, GHB 2K7, LON's in February, but it hasn't quite come out yet. I'm trying to wrap my head around playing an army that doesn't have a book that I'm playing from as a concept. I'm in that, and I'm looking at the Blood Knights, and I'm like, my heart wanted the Blood Knights so badly. I'm like, I want to go back to my old vampire. When I used to run Blood Dragons, which was the bloodline in vampire counts, and I'm like, I want this. And then like I'm like, oh, they're like ancient, they're impossible, they're always sold out, they're super expensive, and there's that time where I was thinking about buying Dragon Blades and converting them, and even Dragon Blades are old, and it's like running into an old friend that you haven't seen in forever, and you're just like, and you catch up with them, and they're exactly as you hoped they would be in their life path. You're like, that's these are old friends that I'm running into, and they've graduated college and they got a career in the field I thought they would, which is murder and bloodletting. They're not riding normal ass horses, which just the instant I saw that, I was so happy. Look at these bone skeleton horses, and like they're just a little creepy, a little unnatural. I think we even have an OBR beak one over here. And I just, like this one's popping its collar so hard because he has so much swagger. It's just become bat wings. This is awesome. It is. He's got the Dark Souls mace. Oh, I loved it. I'm in love with these.
My very first game of Sigmar, which Brendan remembers well, and I was standing across the table with our friend from the West Coast, or standing with him, and he had his corn and I had my spiders. And I can remember that it was a little disconcerting when I saw all those Blood Knights coming at me. If I saw,
I had Black Knights. No.
Okay. But that was the first thing I had with Undead. My first experience. It was disconcerting. If I saw a bunch of these knights coming across the table, it would be like, excuse me, I need to take a break. I'll come back when these guys are gone. I mean, just looking at them, thinking about a unit of them or a couple units of them coming across the table would just be frightening. Just visually, it would be frightening if they were painted the right way, which is exactly what you want. That's the effect they should have. And they look epic. They look Bretonnian. You know how Bretonnian were the classic knights when you saw them? These guys are, I think, just even a step above that. They're epic, I think is a good word to use.
They had a very iconic place in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, which Meph was talking about a little bit there. It's really cool to see them back in this universe, but I'm most interested to see in the way in which they make them really at home in AOS as the Soulblight Gravelords, and how they choose to have this unit function in that space, because this is a unit that you really have kind of a big risk of, if it doesn't feel right, people are going to be, really pretty miffed about the whole situation, because these were, like they talked about on the preview, a unit of 5 of these could break some armies on their own.
Yeah.
You know, do I want them to be that powerful? No,
Yes,
but I want them as a
I do.
I want them as a 5-man unit to be something that you look at and go, okay, I got to think about this.
You know, Brendan, it's not like there's anything out there in guard like can do anything like that. You know.
I want a unit of 5 of these to be the undeniable best unit of cavalry for like punching people in the mouth. You know, just the absolute like.
Yeah.
With the right buff or force multiplier, you're just like, these are nasty. Like sub-allegiance that gives them like the bonus attack. Like some of those like classical buffs or a bonus pile in, and you're just like, these things are terrifying if you let them get the charge. They don't fly, so they'll be playing fair with you, or maybe there's a spell that makes them get a shadow form or like turn into fucking mist and redeploy. But like the whole point is like if they charge you, they're going to break you. And like they need that play style where it's like, okay, you gotta like feed them something so they don't get the charge, or they're going to ruin your day. You know.
And here's the other thing for me that they have to be successful. They have to be durable, because you've got so many punchy units that just melt. You know, one round of shooting and they're gone. These guys have got to be able to take at least one round of whatever it is before they get to the target, and then still be able to hit. I don't know what that means in terms of the game, but durable as well as, you know, punch you in the face. They gotta have both, I think.
Yeah. Like yeah. I like just little details. These are one of those models. They don't fully go over designed the way Varangard are, like. So they get it right up to that line, which I think is really nice. But some of these
tell me about it.
What's that? Yeah.
I said, tell me about it.
But like they're what I expect. The bat, like the barding, like looking like little plates of bat wings, you know. And even looking at the way their hooves are sort of grooved and like kind of gnarly. These are not normal horses. It's that theme I love about vampires. The longer you look at it, the more otherworldly you're like, this isn't a normal thing. You know, like it's in a passing glance, like someone who's being stalked in the night be like, oh, human on horse, and then you're like, you know, wait, was its face a fucking skeleton? And like, did it have claws on its hooves? Like, and you're just like, and you know that double take moment, that uncanny valley of like realizing you're in the presence of a otherworldly predator who is only there to destroy you and eat and drink your blood. I can't talk about how much I love these nearly enough. I could do 1 hour on them. I'm gonna keep scrolling here. All right. Soulblight Battle Tome. Like that they plucked out the feature Potato Cam Vamp, so a big fan of that. All right, I'm going to play this video for chat gang here, and you tell me, more sort of steeped in Warhammer lore than me individuals, what the heck this is.
We don't know.
You may not be able to see it, but chat may not have seen it yet.
I was buried in the mountain, trapped under the rock. I have escaped my prison, but my people are gone.
So, Broken Realms Kragnos. The two theories pitched out have been Kurnothi and something beast related.
Yeah. I'm going with the beasts. Just when I saw the video, that kind of popped.
See,
I don't know.
I fixated on the hooves first, and the posture reminded me immediately of dragon ogres, like immediately. And now I've looked, because it's almost haunched back, and then it's kind of holding them in the front. And I thought dragon ogres initially.
I was thinking Shaggoth, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you got the horns. This character doesn't exist though yet, right? Like this Kragnos.
Right. Yeah. There's no Warhammer Fantasy Kragnos. There's no Age of Sigmar Kragnos. It's one of those things where we're probably going to be like best informed by looking at like the root words, you know, involved in the name, to kind of because that's one of their favorite things to do, is to take, you know, Greek and Latin and screw around with it to kind of tell you what it is that they aim to do, you know, with what it is. I know Vince has pitched out that it's destruction.
I'd be super for that.
Yeah,
like our primal destruction force we've wanted, where they're like primal. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
And if you're gonna go in that vein, I just look at it and I just don't see how you're not going to incorporate like Beast of Chaos specifically into it. It's just I don't know, like it looks like it's what Kolic Sun Eater should have been. I looked at it and my first thought was like, oh cool, a Centigore, and just like do, and you just continue watching it, and then you look at the still shot more and more, and you're like,
yeah, I've got this.
What are you?
I've got the still up right now, and like I said, my first read was Dragon Ogre because I saw the like reared up, and so like that was what I tweeted, and I'm like, was that a Dragon Ogre? And now that I'm staring at it, I'm like I see the main. Like, is this more Centigore, which is awesome? Destruction Primal Force Crag, right? Like that's super. That is a. The what was it called in Guts? The Astro Crag was what you competed for, right? Like, or or what you competed on, like. So like this idea of like it's in a desert, it's moving it away from the forest. So I don't know. Are we not Kurnothi then? Like, so I don't know that it's Kurnothi. I see people wanting that. I'm for any one of these sort of maligned armies getting it. Destruction in general getting another faction because I feel like they're thinning out.
What, they've got 4?
Yeah. I mean, so War Clans is the weird one because it's 3 armies, right? But it's a soup book, and and then you've got Maw Tribes, Sons of Bahamut,
Gits
Gits.
is a soup book.
Yeah.
Maw Tribes is a soup book.
Yeah.
Like,
It's hard to gauge it all, but if we go off of pure books, they've got 4 books, right? I'm thinking Soulblight is going to retire LON as an army. Like, I think that does it. So I think we're sticking at our 4 books: Night Haunt, LON / Soulblight, OBR, Flesh Eater Course. Right. So I think we're sticking at our 4 books as well. So I could see them getting another army. My dog is very upset. He's locked in here with me. I'm sorry, everybody. Yeah, man, I didn't even think about destruction, and now I'm like,
Cindy, you're on the camera. Just so you know that I turned it off. She's wandering around in her nut.
So
okay, we're back.
Yeah. So it's so just the flavor text here. But wait, do you hear it? Hear that? It sounds like a rumble coming from somewhere very, very deep. Almost like something terrifying was woken from a long slumber. Like, very, very deep, terrifying. That seems like a destruction pitch a little bit, or a chaos pitch to me, right?
Yeah.
Or both. Maybe it's the gold faction we've been talking about, where you can pull in from one to the other, and maybe Rat Vampire Man will let you use Skaven in your vampire army.
Oh, that'd be so good. I want that.
And this is the age of Aquarius.
This is 3.0. This is where we. Yes. Don't tease me, Brendan. It's what I want so badly. I want the rat prince to summon like 20 clan rats as like it's one of its abilities, just once per game.
That'd
20
be
clan
too much.
rats. Oh, so sweet. Yeah, maybe this is the golden faction.
I think. I mean, and Beast needs something. We've talked many times that they are just in such need of help, and this would be a really cool lifeline. If nothing else, it gives them a lot of opportunity to bring something new in, or update things, or enhance some things that they already have that are reasonable as it is. That's what I'm hopeful for them, because of the help they do need. So.
What do you guys think if they do end up, say, breaking down what we know Beast of Chaos to be right now, and sort of divvying it back up into other factions but revitalizing it? Would you prefer that, or like full Beast of Chaos 2.0? Like, because I could see people being like, "Oh, Centigore should probably go in, Kurnothi and this, that, and the other thing." Like, I've heard some talk like that. We just got Slangors and Slanesh, so I don't know that this is realistic, but just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, I don't think you can pull them all the way out of Chaos, but I don't see any reason why Beasts of Chaos specifically can't be, can't find their way to be aligned with other forces, right? They they are the primal version of chaos, and the primal version of chaos is probably very similar to the primal version of destruction.
Right.
Like those two things are probably equivalent in terms of just like the way it's going to appear on the table, the way it's going to appear in the lore, a hatred of cities, a hatred of order, and those sounds like the same things to me.
Well, and let's look at what we have in Beasts of Chaos already. You already have the capacity to pull them into different chaos factions. You can make them brass. What is that?
Yeah, brass stampede.
Yeah, that kind of thing, or brass ravagers, whatever, and you can pull them into Slanesh, whatever. So they already got that capacity to pull them into something else. I think is certainly doable.
Right.
I don't know. I just love I love what they are in the book they're in. I would just like to see them
more of
be competitive. Yeah, I'd like to see them back on the table and respected, as it were. I mean,
it'd be the first time.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan says this after years and years, and honestly, one of the few times I've ever beat Brendan was when he was playing a Beast of Chaos army. So that tells you something.
Yeah.
Right there, But I'm hopeful for them.
See, Beast of Chaos is one of those. Brendan had a fantastic bit on it on the episode he was just on a couple weeks back for RantCast, where he's like, everyone has a Beast of Chaos army just on their shelf. It's like we're just all waiting to play them. Just give us an excuse, right? Any excuse to play Beast of Chaos. So the one last theory I've heard is Chaos Dwarves. Actually, like those cool little like fireball dudes and stuff like that, like Crag buried in a desert, deep under the earth. Like, might we be seeing something Chaos Dwarfy? Maybe that's the Destruction Force, because they had the Jinn, they had the little fire spirits, like they had a very elemental vibe to them. Maybe they're pulled away from Chaos a little bit. They may have their sub faction that worships Chaos still. Maybe that's what this is.
I mean, that's reasonable too when you think about dwarves and cities. The guy talked about, we came back and our cities were destroyed. Dwarves are builders. They do that. Maybe that's why they went under, because that stuff was destroyed and they retreated back in, and now they're coming out again. I think that's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
What if this is Games Workshop's introduction of God Beasts into the game?
Give me that.
And this is a 1,000-point character on, just the biggest base you've ever. He's Corn Dragon size. Let's say that, right?
Yeah.
And it's a 1,000-point monster or whatever, and you have like these list of armies that you can pull from that the God Beast, like you have the cult of the God Beasts, and
I believe they were called Scions of the God Beast when we designed them during the Rantathon. We did the work for Games Workshop there. Yeah, go on though. Yeah.
But if they head in the direction of we'll just say it like once a year you're gonna get a God Beast, basically kind of into perpetuity until they fill out the realms or however they want to do it. But you just get this like one super crazy sculpted like $250 monster that is just that gets Broken Realms, whatever, every time it comes out, and here you go, here's this thing, and people are just gonna go, cool, I'm gonna build my army around this 1,000-point super monster on top of like whatever armies I own.
Yeah. I mean that's really stuff like that is really awesome for the intermediate or like just starting out player, especially. Because it makes the game more approachable. Like you mean I can paint one model and like a couple like some support stuff? Yeah, I can paint one model and that's half my army, and now I'm that much closer to playing games at 2,000 points with my friends. Like that's pretty enticing, and with the right price point, I don't think GW will care. They proved that with Sons of Behemoth. You just throw your $200 down on a model. Like, sure, here you go. You can have a 6-model army if you pay $200 per model. Thanks. So real quick, Team DigiSprite raiding party of 7. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome to chat, gang. So yeah, this is cool. I like stuff like this because it's possibilities. Somebody out there who loves anything Centaur the way I like anything Bones, I'm like, oh, fucking Bones, just get Bones and vampires, let's go. Somebody out there loves Centaurs so much, they're going crazy. They don't know what type of Centaur. They don't know whether it's destruction, order, chaos. Like, they have no idea. They know some ancient sweet Centaur woke up and is pissed off and we should be scared. And I'm very happy for that person right now. And I hope that GW delivers on the sweet Centaur, whatever it is. So, the tithe is due. I'm not going to watch the video. I've already watched one video. Come on, Casper.
More tax collectors.
Oh, this makes me so happy. Tithe me, Daddy. Tithe me, Bone
he's
Daddy.
Freaking huge.
That's not.
He's like twice as big as the other ones. He's like twice as big.
Yeah.
He's like baby Catacross, man.
Oh, he might even be physically taller than Catacross himself, which would be. I'm for it because see, Catacross is a diorama and a platform, and he's still going to stand over the field where he belongs on his podium, surveying the landscape and finding it unworthy. This guy, being a foot model, like he needs to be huge, like he must be. I said I wanted I still want like that centerpiece monster, like a classical like behemoth. The Harvester's not that. That's a support buff wagon. I want my philosophical dragon that goes in and fights stuff. My Maw Crusher, my Marathi. Like I still want that style model for my army for the Ossiarch.
You want a giant bone golem?
Yes.
I got you.
Yes. I want a giant bone golem piloted by tiny skeletons. Like they're inside of it, like it's fucking Voltron. Like just
like the Grey Knight Walker. Yeah.
I got it. Yeah. It'd be so sweet. But this guy, I hope he's just dumb. To apologize to me for Soul Reaper and Vokmordian's War Scrolls, like he's stupid. Like just like he's a melee foot hero. He can't be that great.
The apology card that you've been talking about for the Night Haunt guy.
Yeah. He's, from what I understand, he is like a Soul Reaper. Like he's a named Soul Reaper is basically what he is. This mere Khmer Kyran. Like he's telling you to come here. No, Mir Kyran, which is one of the most metal names I've ever heard. Like Catacross is cool, but fuck, your first name is monosyllabic. Like, oh, so sweet. It's like you're punching someone in the face when you meet them.
I would have been really happy with that guy if he had just been on like a 32mm base and he had just been like a different version of a Soul Reaper, right? Like where the Soul Reapers have their lumen scythes and they do that, and this is just named dude with an axe, and this is the way that like he collects souls. I'd have been so cool with that. Like that would have been great for him to be stalker sized, for him to be a stalker sized hero. It's nuts. I had like we had like an interview with the artist and like in that spot where they asked him, they're just like, why did you make him stalker size? And he's like, well, I sculpted him to be on a 32, and then I went into CAD and I was like, what if I increased him by like 45%? And we dropped him on a 40, and we went, you know what? Maybe.
I feel like Games Workshop's living in my head rent free right now. Like I'm starting to have an identity crisis. Like, am I actually James Workshop? Like, and I don't know it. Like it's some sort of like multi-personality type thing. Like I go to bed and I'm just drafting all these crazy schematics, and like I drew up this thing because this is straight out of my dreams. And of course I'd be like, just make it huge. Like why wouldn't it be huge?
Why not? Yeah.
Oh man, it's got the asymmetry, like the single pauldron, like it's the face. It's looking at you are already dead and just don't know it yet. That is what it's saying to me with its eyes. It's awesome. More
okay,
Joe.
So Matt, here's a question for you. How how bad do his rules have to be for you not to include him in your army?
Include is different from buying. I've already pre-ordered it. I'm like, okay, put me on the queue for like, because these are going to be limited thing. Like, I want this model. As soon as I'm able to, I will throw money at you, playfully giggling. Like,
Sure. The question still stands. How bad do his rules have to be for you not to take him?
Lotan, if he brings a buff at all and is like 120 points, 140 points, like somewhere in that, like, I could go 10 less Mortek Guard and bring this guy, something like that, because I already have a imaginary 80 points in every Ossiarch Bonereapers list, because you always freaking do. It's so hard to spend those 80. He gets plus 80. He gets a bonus 80 points on whatever he costs because I have that 80-point buffer. He'd have to have like no buff and no combat abilities. Like, if he just doesn't have a buff and combat abilities, and I'm like, okay. Oh, seems that he has any combat abilities whatsoever, and like gives re-rolling a single one on somebody's spellcasting check wholly within 6 inches. It's a buff. Like.
Well, if he is not a beatstick with that freaking axe, I don't know what they're thinking.
Oh, make him Gotrek. Make him 400 points of just pure ass kick. Like, my army is just Catacross and that.
Freaking huge. My God.
He costs 300 points. Like, he costs.
Him, Sigvald, and Altharion walk into an arena and everyone wins.
Right.
Great.
Yes. Yeah. He, Sigvald, like Eltharion walk into arena and we all just win. Yeah, exactly. Like, they've shown me like those 200 odd point war scrolls lately, like the 220, 260, like with Sigvald, where like they've realized that they need to, when you're a foot hero, they just have to push you in some extreme ways. They give you the equivalent of realm artifacts on your war scroll. The fact that realm artifacts have been largely nerfed makes the band-aid, makes it hurt a lot less that I can't give it like an executioner sword. He better have just Sword of Japan, the weapon. 6s become D6s to mortal.
To auto kill.
Yeah.
Just straight up like Slayer of King style. Not to that end.
Yeah, model dice.
Yeah. I would love it for it to be like 6s to hit, unmodified 6s or D6 mortals or something like that. Like,
yeah.
Just put it in just something absurd. Just make him ridiculous. He's gonna have the standard complement of survivability, I'd imagine, because he's a Mortek thing. So he's gonna have a 4-up, possibly a 3-up, right? Like, re-rolling because some ability. So 3-up re-rolling. Could we just make Death have a 5-up shrug, please? Like, since we don't have.
Yeah, I vote yes.
So just like
Danny's all the help he can get.
Just give Death 5-up rerolls. If naked murder ladies get their 5-up save, give my bone daddies engineered by the bone god, like, who are only made of bone and souls. Like, just come on.
5-up shrug, sure.
Yeah. No, so he's got the Soul Reaper vials, which I just love. Oh man, the more I stare at this, the cooler. Somebody like made fun of his feet, and they're wrong. It's America, you're allowed to be wrong. It's cool because it reminds me of like the Tengu, like the Tengu like monks and stuff like that, where they be on the cool little stilt shoes and stuff. I'm like, so we're getting more of that Pan Asian stuff that I love. I'm like, this is awesome. Oh man, he even lifts, bro. Look at how swole he is.
I feel like these folks have never looked at like a stalker model is what this feels like in a lot of cases, because that is just a stalker model and an Immortus Guard model smushed together with a Soul Reaper, and then given an axe. Like, that's what that model is.
Yeah. You know what's cooler than one scythe? If it's a scythe like angling one way and then you put another scythe angling the other way. Double scythe. See, this isn't an axe. This is a double scythe, you see. They turned them back to back. And...
yeah, sure.
Coming back to the rest of the warbands, like, it's fine. It's Mortek Guard. You've already sold me on Mortek Guard.
Okay, wait. I'm going to say this.
Okay.
You don't need, and I'm going to curse here. I hope that's okay on your show.
What's that? Yeah. We're mature tab.
You freaking OBR don't need any more fucking shooting. Okay, just stop. Just stop, Brendan. I saw the orange shirt. It's like Brendan is gonna make some comment about shooting with those guys. It's like I could just see them coming out with a box of like 10 of those guys. Yeah. I'm like, come on, seriously, shooting,
shooting? 10 for 120. Let's go. Give them the.
When I saw this silhouette, I just went nuts. I'm like, no, please, no more shooting for Obi-Wan. No.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. One Games Workshop. Don't listen to him. 2, yes, shooting 120 points and give them adjudicator rules where like their shooting power doesn't really fall off as long as the leader's there and just like plinking away with like a do that.
I'll compromise with you, Meth. If you give me catapults to ally into my Nighthawk, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, that was an unnecessary punishment to all of death. I don't understand why they did that. Oh, no, I know exactly why they did that. That reason.
Probably, yeah. No, you guys get out of here.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was beautiful.
In that warband, though, I want you to take a look at one model there, Meph.
Yeah.
I want you to look at the Hekatos.
Hang on. Ganked by children. Lily. What model am I getting up so you can talk about it? The really happy shield man.
I want you to look at the Hekatos, the unit champion.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
What is in his left hand? What is that?
It's a mini Bone Tithe Nexus.
Is he secretly going to be the caster of this Dire Chasm warband? Like, is he going to be able to channel some ethereal death energies? Obviously, you know, our Bone Axe Executioner man is the caster of the group. Like, he's clearly, you know, a Soul Reaper made giant. But what is our Hekatos friend doing? What's going on there? I don't know.
Reasonable question.
Yeah.
I'm just asking the questions here.
He's got a burb friend too, first of all, which is awesome. You're getting back to the thing I love to see that made me fall on Mortek Guard in the first place, and we're just getting more of that. One of the big things being skeletons with personality. This warband has personality. Like
a lot of it.
Like they're just look at this dude who's just been hit in the face and he's just like smirking at you and he's carrying a mace and he's just like the best you got like that. I'm made out of dinosaur bones. Are you fucking kidding me right now? It's so great. Excuse me, I have to deal with this. If you can talk for a minute.
That's fine. That's coolio. So Brendan, isn't it amazing? Like Gravelords. It's like this is my vampirates, you know. These are my guys.
This is your vampirates, yes.
Oh my God! Everything else
Now, how do you feel about them? Very definitely to this point not being vampirates.
I'm fine with that.
Vampires.
I'm fine with that because I got vampires. I mean that, and it's a book. It's not, as you guys were talking about, it's not part of Legion of Nagash. You know, it's not part of LON. It's its own book. And it's not, of course, we're going to incorporate different things, but just the fact that it's a dedicated book for Vampire Lords, that is just, to me, so exciting that they didn't just kind of water it down, because that's kind of what I was expecting, or to make it little pieces and parts of different things. So to have it all in one place is very, very exciting. I mean, once I finish my second black coach now, Brendan, I'm not going to do nothing until these guys come out. I'm done hobbying.
You just didn't wait, huh? Well, Curse City's right around the corner,
yes.
so
now, there is that. There's that bridge. There's that bridge between the two. Yes. So, although, well, we can talk about that at some point. But all the other stuff, you know, that's in there, because we have Bellicor, we have Gravelords, we have Kragnos. When is Curse City coming out? We know this is coming out this coming Saturday, a week from today is the pre-order.
Yep.
For Techless now, that's great. But man, we've got what? If you count Cursed City, that's 5 things in the pipeline right now.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, yeah, 5. That's a lot of stuff.
They can.
Thank goodness, we have some shows written for us.
Yeah.
We don't have to make up our own.
Yeah, hopefully they take their time releasing it all, so I can like pad my wallet. This is going to be a brutal year if not. So yeah, I'm hoping we do get more tech archers. I think that'd be cool. We need. People gave that criticism of LRL that like, oh, it feels like an incomplete army, despite being really strong. And with Ossiarch Bonereapers, they never allowed themselves to think about that. They were too rabble-roused before the book came out that it was going to be NPE, and were mad about Crematorians turned Petrifex Elite. Like, they just never stopped to think that this army maybe needs some other stuff too, because especially when you're building lists, you're like, you know, the battle line really feels like it's pinched. I think that was a read we had very, very early on. Add in battle line if with like Immortalis or Stalkers. Add in a battle line archer option. It could be battle line if, I don't care. Like, put them in Ivory Host, spread them around our allegiances. I don't care how you do it, but giving us some more ability to be, quite frankly, less mono build, because it's like you're stacking more tech guard, throwing in like a complement of Death Riders, or you're stacking Death Riders and throwing in a complement of more tech guard, and then like what 2 of the main buff pieces are you taking, and then like that's your list every time over and over again. Like, I want to see a little bit. I'm so tempted to take all the other cool stuff. I need to be able to take the other cool stuff. Enable me to do that, please. I'm just looking for an excuse. Like,
well, it's kind of like what they did with snakes and daughters,
right?
You know, just adding one attack on the bows made them so much more viable, or just the small changes that they made to the punchy ones.
All right.
And you're right. That's there. Let's include those guys now in our army. We wouldn't have even considered it before. And it's like we talked about, Brendan, on the show. You have all these options, and it makes the book more interesting for people who want to play it. And that's really what the goal should be, I think.
Right. All right. So I left you exactly 1 minute to talk about all the 40K stuff, Dan.
Okay. So I'm going to highlight one thing. You and I can keep talking, of course, but I do have something picked out because I knew you might pull this kind of shit up. So, beast snaggers, orcs on hogs. That was just the most beautiful model, man. That little grot hanging off.
Okay.
Orc cavalry, man. That is just exciting as heck.
In 40K.
So awesome. Yeah, in 40K. Yeah, orc cavalry in 40K. Awesome. It's just amazing. And the model was outstanding. And I mean, there are other things.
You're gonna see these in Sigmar, 100%. Like these are gonna end up in orc armies. I have no doubt in my mind.
It's just too much stuff.
It actually reminds me of Horizon Zero Dawn. Looking at it, like if you're familiar with the video game or checking, some people in checking may be familiar with the video game, where you have the sort of like plasteel or tech plate, like harvested or scavenged, and you're like using it rather than in a technological way. They're using it in like to supplement like sort of natural armors and stuff, the way that in that post-apocalyptic setting that Horizon Zero Dawn is. I'm seeing a lot of that. I think that's a cool nod. The minute it came up, I'm like, someone is going to love this, and this is why I love Cubic Shenanigans. Even though I know nothing about 40K, I've just distanced myself utterly from that game. Your excitement for 40K makes me like residually excited for stuff. I'm just like,
well, we're gonna record tomorrow, so you're gonna have a show to listen to in a few days, and we're gonna be talking about some of that stuff. So it's all good, man. It's all good.
Right on. You guys want to plug your show real quick? Just I've mentioned it again before. Cubic Shenanigans. Sure. Go watch it. But if you want to give your spiel,
Cubic Shenanigans, we're a Warhammer podcast. We really focus a lot more on Sigmar than we do on 40K. But if there's something that comes out or something of interest, we'll certainly go over it and talk about it a little bit. We're on just about everything. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeart, we're everywhere. And Brendan and I just talk about stuff. We talk about a lot of different things too. We talk about books. We have a segment where we just ask stupid questions to each other, and people seem to love that.
This or that,
yeah. And then we have a segment before the main part of the show where we talk about new releases wherever they're wherever in the Warhammer world they're from, and kind of comment on those things, talk about games played or not played at this point. And yeah, so we hope people will listen and enjoy.
Well, it's really a total. It's a very holistic Warhammer podcast. I can't say total Warhammer. I might get like a video game.
You might get yanked.
Yeah, no. It's a very holistic view of Warhammer. You'll talk about Black Library when Black Library releases are out. You'll talk so it's very much in the know. But then you take that sort of teaching with your background as an educator. You take that teaching angle to really help break down some of this stuff. And like I said, you get Brendan sort of like straight, just here's the facts, this is what, like, the context, why it matters, and then you have this like excitement and fervor for it, plus the educational like sort of ethos going into it, and I think it really, really works great as a show, and it's one of my favorites.
Oh, great. Well, thank you.
Regardless
Thanks.
of being like a Wisconsin, I'm gonna always honk Wisconsin stuff, but regardless of that, it's really great. It's like you guys and Ian just play just saying are like my two. If there like the Battle Tome comes out, usually it's those two I'm listening to, so that I know what to say. And you guys let me down on Slaanesh. I'm just gonna let you know. You couldn't get it out before I was on Warhammer Weekly, so I had to have my own opinions. It was terrible. It was the worst.
Yeah. And I listened to that. It was good. You were nice balance, actually. You were nice balance during the conversation.
I thought so. Yeah, I had to kind of play the straight man, or when you're picking up energy when you're in live radio, especially. It's a lot about like the energy in that time or in that moment, and just kind of balancing it out for the audience. And I'm not less me per se, but I do amp up, like, if this is the take that is counter to that point, that's the one I'll lean on in the moment, rather than like all the negative crap I could say, or if if I have to like bring levity to somebody who's just gushing over it, which I rarely like to do, but then I would focus on like a couple of the negatives. It's like the compliment sandwich, right? Like,
Well, I think to your point, it's important that you do balance that, because I know for myself, I can speak. If all I listen to is negative stuff, then I'm not going to listen again. I mean, because there's enough negativity everywhere else. It doesn't mean that I'm like bubbly and like, this is freaking awesome every time, but it means you have to present both sides. And if there's some stuff like with Slaanesh, I think we did a decent job anyway, Brendan, of presenting, here's some good stuff, here's some nice stuff there is, and these are some concerns we have. Mm-hmm. But it's not all, this sucks, the whole time. But we don't have to fairness to a lot of people, we don't have the personal investment that a lot of people had. And so when you do that, if the new Nighthaunt book came terrible, I'd be pissed off too. Right. I can tell you whenever that happens. Yep. So I understand. But we try to balance it. And if we're really excited about the book, well, obviously you're going to tell that's the truth. But
right.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, see, when this Executioner comes out, when Mir Kairan comes out, and is awesome, because he will be, like, I won't have to be disappointed or negative, because he's going to be awesome. Right. I'm going to just take him out the warband. Maybe he'll come with his whole warband. He'll get like a plink shot and a spell, because you have the Stone Man. Oh, it can be so cool. You get some ablative wounds with like the various dudes with swords or dudettes, right? They're multiple souls in a container. I can't wait for it. I'm stoked. All right, I'll let you get out there. I know, Brendan, you got a hard out, and I could talk about vampirates or vampires and Soulblight and stuff just ad nauseum, but I gotta save something for the show this week too.
Gotta reload.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man. Yeah. So I can finally stop covering previews, the preview reviews. I can finally stop doing that because they showed me Soulblights, but they might show me. But what if they show me more Soulblights? Then I have to do another one.
We're here for you, man. Every time we're here for you.
Right on, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me tonight or today.
Thanks for inviting. Appreciate it.
Right on.
Take care, man.
Good day. And chat gang, you're the show within the show, the reason we do this thing. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. I hope you enjoyed your coffee. I hope your coffee interrogated you. And to get that joke, you're going to need to watch last night's episode. It's 6 hours. You'll know when you get to the joke. Good night, everybody.